So the response we've got has been incredible. I mean, what's been some of the feedback you've got since we've launched this?
Me?
Yeah, no, the other guy behind you. Yes, you.
Great. It's been fantastic.
We're recording.
I know.
Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, I got a very incredible request and phone call from somebody too that called up and said, "Hey, I love the direction you guys are going. Here's something I see both of you do very well that I would love to hear more about." And I says, "Okay, what is it?" They said,
Like you were surprised.
"Yeah, I was."
Oh.
They said both of us are very good about attracting relationships and not just networking and knowing people, but really getting involved in people's lives and having close-knit relationships with people that legitimately want to be supportive of each other, cheer each other on. And so they shared that they would love to hear some of our thoughts on that. So I thought, okay, that's cool. That's very flattering. You are an incredible person about
I am
pulling people.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
you're incredible. Period.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, you're great at building relationships, and people immediately almost have a comfort and trust level with you. So, and how you navigate life, both personally with, the inner circle you surround yourself with, both within your family, both professionally with some of those relationships. What are some of the thoughts you have around how do you build those successful, real relationships? Not just the fake, phony ones for the sake of networking or the sake of trying to get business from somebody, but how do you legitimately build a relationship to where that person understands your character and what you're about?
Well, it all started back in 1983. There was a night in early August that I was born, and the world changed.
Have you been drinking?
No, it's too early for that.
Okay.
No, anything you do with relationships in my life, it's just life. So I don't look at it as relationships. I just look at it as life. Anything that I do personally, I genuinely come from a standpoint of I want to add value. I want to add value to you. I want to add value to my clients. I want to add value to the church. I want to add value to the community. I want to add value, to the server at the restaurant. Anything I do is truly geared towards adding that value. And adding that value isn't always easy. I don't always do it. There are some times where I mess up, I trip and I fall, but like the Dwayne Wade commercial, you get back up.
Or Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Sure. Yeah, I guess. I don't understand that reference.
So you need to watch more movies. So what do you do when you feel like the relationship's not going in a positive direction from your standpoint? Or you feel like maybe the relationship is not healthy in a sense of, hey, they're not returning back what I'm investing in this relationship on, any level?
Well, I have people in my life, my wife especially. My wife is very good at identifying some of the areas that I may be blind to, because I'm very much glass half full. Everybody loves each other. Why are people fighting? And I don't understand fully when people don't get along, because in my life, everybody typically gets along.
And it's a beautiful part of your personality.
Yeah.
Because you're literally like a little kid, like, why is everybody fighting? And I'm like, Josh, it's life. It's like people are. Some people are just selfish. Some people are just mean.
So when we have conversations about different things that's going on in our lives, work, professionally, personally, whatever, whether it's you, Amanda, Brittany, or whatever, people are very good at pointing out the negativity on, this person has ulterior motives about this, or, this is really what they meant. And I don't really see that. So, to me, that's, a lot of that, honestly, is probably me being naive, which I'm okay with to an extent. But I also need to be aware of not everybody is out for good. And trying to navigate that really is hard.
But then I would say, but for people that are in your life that are looking for positive relationships to reciprocate that, there's also, you're not threatening in that way.
Yeah.
I think a lot of when you're first starting out in relationships, it seems like you're kind of getting that feel of, are they a threat? Are they for me? Are they against me? Which is something I probably overly think in, how I navigate relationships. For me, it really has just revolved around people have value and every person has the same value. There's no difference. And I can't assume that I know somebody's beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah.
I just have to assume what I have with that person.
Yeah.
And that's all I try to go from. I don't try to go overboard in predicting anything or writing anybody off or having a pre-assumption about who they are or what they're going to be. But I also think we also have a very real interest in what's real.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
We don't need to sit around and talk about things that are fake. And I don't know if it's insecurity. I don't know if it is security. I don't know if it's confidence. I don't know if it's arrogance. I don't know if it's stupidity. But neither one of us legitimately do anything to really put on for anybody else.
Yeah.
We almost do the exact opposite. We'll almost, when we need to be more serious, we'll almost go the other way because it's like nobody's going to die in this situation. So I'm not going to be defensive. I'm not going to be threatening. I'm not going to be threatened. I'm not going to carry myself with an aggression. And when people receive that from somebody, because so many people have been burned or so many people function from a position of insecurity or function from a position of their own self, that when they encounter that selflessness or they encounter somebody they're legitimately receiving what they feel like is the authentic version of this person, it causes them to feel safe and almost like gravitate to them in a way.
Yeah.
And we see that. We see that with relationships that we admire. So eventually I would love to get him on the podcast. Incredible human being. His name's Matt Marvin. If you don't know him, look him up or whatever. This guy can walk into a room and he'll immediately start gravitating people to him.
Mm-hmm.
And the biggest thing is when you talk to Matt, he has some weird force power of communicating you have value without saying it.
Yeah.
He'll just talk to you. And I matter to this guy. He's all in this conversation. He's giving me everything he's got, and he's not asking anything in return.
Yeah.
And it's something in like those mentors, like the people that we look forward in our life and we try to mimic. Something I learned a lot from him in just watching him navigate a room, navigate with people. And it's like, wow. And also for us, I don't know why, but family is a huge priority for us, even though we grew up very, very different.
Yeah.
So for me, I want relationships around me that it's literally ride or die.
Yeah, yeah.
I can call you at any point, any day, and I get every ounce of who you are as a human being, and you get every ounce of who I am as a human being. And there's nothing that moves me from that feeling towards them or that love or that care.
Yeah.
I think that's also a big challenge in relationships where we want to have relationships within maybe a compartment, but then when the compartment starts getting messy or gets a little overgrown or there's some junk that comes out, which we all have, there's a dark place that comes out, which we all have had our struggles or whatever, then it starts feeling gross. And because we're so overwhelmed with our own junk, it's almost like we short circuit and we can't even navigate through that.
Yeah.
So when you're going through those relationships and the relationship is moving kind of through the progression of, okay, I know them, it seems like we're connecting, but now we're to that point to where there's a little bit of almost like an exposure, transparency that's occurring where they share with me that they're not perfect. I share with them that I'm not perfect. How do you navigate that? Because what I've seen too is I've seen a lot of people share that, and then maybe because of the response or maybe because they now feel exposed, it's almost like it can completely blow up the relationship.
Yeah.
So how have you navigated that in your relationships?
Well, I try to start off really, I mean, in all honesty, so like that kind of drive to have those sort of relationships really I started noticing it when I was out of college when I got my first sales job, right? And you think about, everybody, they have the sales book, they have the training, they say, call these people and, and ask them if they want to buy and ask them if they want to buy. And you just do that, I mean, it took me a very short time to realize this isn't how I want to sell something.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be the guy that's beating you over the head, telling you need to buy this, buy this, buy this. Mm-hmm. And it's the same thing with church, for instance. You go to a big sports game. I love Jesus. I love the church. I love people as a whole. But when you go to a big sporting event, right, and you see the guy standing on the corner with a big sign, repent or go to hell, or you're gonna die, you're burning hell, stuff like that. There is a there is a small bit of population that really does work for. Like I would imagine being glass half full like I am, that somebody walks through that sign, and even if it's just one person, right? One person sees that sign and be like, wow, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
That has a different effect, right? But my aspect is, like I'm going to add value and I'm going to show love and I'm going to serve, because that's going to, I want to cast a wider net, which people that we can impact.
Mm-hmm.
So out of that relationship is, I'm not going to tell you to buy. First, well, you know who Simon Sinek is?
I've heard, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
yeah.
he's the guy who does the TED
Yeah.
Talk on start with why, or start with the why.
Mm-hmm.
So he uses this example. If you haven't seen it, go on YouTube or Google and search for Simon Sinek's Start with Why.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really good video where he uses Apple as an example. Apple sells computers, right? So they sell computers, but they do it better than anybody else. But why do they do it? Because they start with the why. They start with this beautiful picture of why we need a MacBook. And then it basically, out of the funnel, you start with the what, the how, and end with the why in the circle. Their how is, well, we sell computers, and you get this beautiful, magnificent thing.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else does it. They just market it as a why. So what I like to do is I like to live my life with the why aspect of it, and people know why I'm doing something.
Mm-hmm.
I don't sell houses. That's my how, or what I do. But I don't do that. I help the single mom with 4 kids find the place that she can create these memories and lasting impressions that she will never forget and her kids won't forget. Mm-hmm. So I start with that why, and that just trickles down to all these different things. So going through my original days of sales, that wasn't authentic to me. Mm-hmm. And then I see, as we've grown, I've definitely coming to an appreciation. I'm sure you are, and everybody else is as well. We don't have time for the fake surface relationships.
Right.
So if you're going to be fake with me and you're not going to be authentic with me, I love you and I'm for you and I'm going to support you and I hope for the best for you. Mm-hmm. But that's not where I'm going to, my time is valuable. I can be spending my time with my family, which I love doing. I could be doing it with friends or whatever. But, at that moment, like right now, I'm serving, I'm spending my time with you because I see there's value in it. And taking that time for those valuable moments and being transparent is critically important to anybody, especially our age. And I think even the older generations are slowly starting to get it as well. Mm. And millennials right now, you can say millennials are, they're either good about it or they're bad about it. But, I think a lot of even them, they do cherish the authentic relationships. Yeah. And I think that's important.
Yeah, way more mission driven than money driven.
Absolutely.
So the stats are out there, and the number one asked question among like our age and younger is, the time off. It's all about the consistency and the structure, because they're connecting more to a mission and accomplishing something than they really are just trying to get a job and get paid. I think one of the things that you hit on, and we're going to have to keep this conversation coming back, because I know there's a lot of good points in talking about this. The one thing that I see that becomes a common thread is, my wife and I talk about it a lot, but when we were raised, we spent a ton of time at grandma's house, and grandma was the babysitter. And so we're the generation that really came up with mom and dad working. And now our kids are the generation of mom and dad aren't living together. There's a babysitter. Both are working more than 40 hours a week, right? Yeah. So there's this, and then everybody's so nomadic, where, kids go off to college and they go get a job somewhere else, and nobody lives in the same town. And I think the relationship aspect has become so significant, because it really does take a village. Yeah. Not only for your kid, which that's a great saying, but also for us. Yeah. I've never been a parent before. Yeah. I don't have any experience in this. And my daughter, she's a third grader.
Yeah.
So we're in the prepubescent stuff. I've never lived. I don't know what the heck to do. I grew up with a little sister, and all I had to do was shut the door and go play Sega. But Sophia, I'm gonna have to be in it. And so those relationships become so much more valuable to us because the support network of today's family has to look a lot different. I will say this: I think ultimately it starts with courage. You have to be the first one that's willing to extend yourself in that way and not care about how it looks.
Yeah.
Not care about if it's returned. You have to be so confident in yourself that you're going to say, you know what? The value I have inside of me, the value of who I am as a person is worth it. And I'm going to find out if they're that same kind of person. If they are, great. And if they're not, okay, no worries. So we're going to come back to this topic quite a bit. It's going to be just probably a reoccurring thing because we've only scratched the surface. Of this theme. So we'll definitely bring this one back around.
Yeah. This is How Stupid People Succeed. I'm Josh. This is Jeremy. Share it, like it, comment on it.
Subscribe to it.
Subscribe to it as well. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
Cut out. Thanks for stopping by.